Happy morning, students. Blue Stars High Secondary School welcomes you all to learn this lesson, Forgetting. This was written by Robert Lind. It's an essay written by Robert Lind. It teaches us to overcome the deficiencies and to concentrate better with a greater focus on our actions, especially in our studies. Now we are going to learn about the author Robert Lind. Who is Robert Lind? His full name is Robert Wilson Lind. His pen name YY. He was born on 20th April 1879 at Belfast at United Kingdom. His education: Royal Belfast Academical Institution and at Queen's University Belfast. His careers are editor, poet, essayist. Some of his famous works: The Pleasure of Ignorance in 1921, Selected Essays in 1923, Rain Rain Go to Spain in 1931, YY an Anthology of Essays in 1933. Some of the awards awarded by Robert Lind: Silver Medal by the Royal Society of Literature, Gold Medal by the Sunday Times. He was died on 6th October 1949. Now, some of the warm-up exercises in this lesson. Have you ever lost or misplaced anything of value due to forgetfulness? Discuss with your partner and think of some practical ideas to overcome forgetfulness in your day-to-day activities. For example, setting an alarm, maintaining a diary, giving priority to activities, checking the diary entry in the morning, using a bit of paper mentioning every important task to be done on the particular day. Discuss and share your views with the class on the following. Is forgetfulness a result of carelessness or preoccupation? Forgetfulness is mainly a result of preoccupation. As we are busy with some important task or activities, we forget certain things. Our focus is on completing the day's work and getting a good name from the teachers as well as parents. In the course of doing the most important task assigned for that particular day, we forget to take back essential things such as lunch box, instrument box, notebooks or books. We may forget certain things on account of carelessness, but mostly preoccupation makes us forget to do important things. Now, we are going to learn about this essay, Forgetting. Robert Lind is a very humorous and delightful Irish essayist. His essays are simple, playful, humorous and satirical. His style of writing is elegant and charming. In his essay Forgetting, Robert Lind writes about the root causes of forgetting and also explains what items are usually forgotten by people. Robert Lind says that he is amazed by the efficiency of human memory. Modern man remembers even telephone numbers and names of actors and actresses, and cricketers and footballers and murderers. Thus, he can remember almost everything in his life. In some matters, human memory works less than its usual perfection. For example, most people forget to take the medicine, but they don't forget to take meals, and medicines are usually taken before or after or during meals. Psychologists say that we forget things because we wish to forget them. Generally, people don't like medicines and so they forget them. But Lind does not agree with this. Why is not agreeing this? Because people They are generally they are having the habit of forgetting. According to Robert Lind, the commonest form of forgetfulness is posting letters. Most people forget to post letters. You are having letter in our packet, but we are always forgetting to post it. That's why we are bringing it back to the house, isn't it? Like the same, Robert Lind, he is also doing the same. He is also forgetting to post letters. So Robert Lind humorously remarks that if anyone asks him to post a letter, he will be a poor judge of character because Robert Lind never posts the letter even if he keeps it in his pocket for many days. Similarly, the author leaves walking sticks and umbrellas during his journey. Mostly, he is losing all his walking sticks and umbrellas during his journey. Lind says that a list of articles lost by railway travelers has been published, and it shows that most of these travelers are young sportsmen. They have forgotten their cricket bats and footballs. Lind says that these boys returning from the games have their imagination filled with the vision of the playing field. The defeated players are very sad and they think about their lost opportunities and failures. The victorious boys have thoughts about their achievements. They are in a dream world and they forget to take their cricket bats and footballs when leaving the train. Why they are all forgetting this to take out? Because they are all in the dream world. They are always thinking about their victory and then about their achievements. So they are always thinking about the dream, to achieve the dream, isn't it? That's why they are not concentrate in taking back the cricket bats and footballs. Similarly, the anglers. Who are anglers? The persons who are all fishing, isn't it? They are called as anglers. Similarly, the anglers are also the citizens of dream world. They are daydreamers. They forgot to take the fishing rod when they go home in the evening. Their minds are filled with matters more glorious. Thus, both the sportsmen and anglers are absent-minded people. Lind remarks that such absent-mindedness is a blessing because these people forget their unhappiness and live in the dream world of utopia. Great thinkers, poets, and philosophers were absent-minded people because their minds were full of high ideals and imagination. Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, and S.T. Coleridge, the great English poet, were absent-minded people. Why he is mentioning the people's name here? Because he is saying about them very proudly. Because he is appreciating them. With the absent-minded, they are achieving a lot. They have achieved a lot. Ordinarily, good memory is very common. So, if a man does not have a good memory, we may call him an eccentric. Lind narrates a very funny story of a father who takes his baby out in a perambulator. Perambulator, it's an unclipped word, but if we are clipping this word means we will call it as pram. P-R-A-M, in the morning. So he is narrating a new funny story of a father here. The father, he takes his baby out in a pram in the morning. When he was going with his child in the pram, he was tempted to get into a public house for a glass of beer. So what he did? He is leaving his child outside in the perambulator. So what happened? He left the child outside with the pram. He disappeared through the door of the saloon bar. After some time, his wife came that way for shopping. She was horrified to see her sleeping baby in the pram. What happened? Baby, pram is there alone on the road. No one is there for taking care to the pram. Baby is sleeping in the pram. So she was so angry with her husband that she decided to teach him a lesson and wheeled away the pram. What she did? She wheeled away the pram to the house. At lunchtime, the husband came home smiling cheerfully. He had completely forgotten all about his child and the pram. Nothing is there in his mind. He completely forgotten everything. He just asked her what was for lunch today. What was for lunch that day? Lynn remarks that very few men below the rank of a philosopher would be capable of such absent-mindedness as this man in the story. So, by this story, what he is trying to say, the people, they are having the habit of forgetting nowadays. It's very common nowadays. Now, we are going to learn the summary now. A lot of articles lost by the railway travellers are put on sale at a great London station. Many people who read the list have been astonished at the absent-mindedness of their fellows. Robert Lynn doubts whether absent-mindedness is common. He wonders about the efficiency of human memory instead of inefficiency. Modern man remembers even telephone numbers, addresses of his friends, and the dates of good vintages. Good vintages means wedding, birthday, weekend, whatever it may be, isn't it? He also remembers appointments for lunch and dinner. The names of actors, actresses, cricketers, footballers, and murderers. He can tell how the weather was in the last August and the name of the hotel in which he had a nasty meal during the summer. Thus, he can remember almost everything in his life. In all over London, nobody ever forgets a single item of his clothing when dressing. Most likely not 1 in 10,000. Similarly, nobody forgets to shut the front door when leaving the house. Everybody remembers to do right things at the right moment. Even the ordinary man never forgets to turn off the lights before going to bed. So, the ordinary man never forgets to turn off the lights before going to bed. But most of the persons doing like the same. They forget to switch off the lights before going to bed. And then some other persons there also forgets to shut the front door when leaving the house. Lynn says that in some matters human memory works less than its usual perfection. Only a systematic man can always remember to take the prescribed medicines. Medicines should be one of the easiest things to remember. The medicine is usually taken before or after or during meals. Here the meals itself is the reminder, but only a few remember is to take the medicine regularly. Some psychologists say that we forget things because we wish to forget them. Many people fail to remember the correct time to take the medicine because they dislike the tablets and tonic. According to Linda, the commonest form of forgetfulness is in posting letters. He is always unwilling to trust an outgoing visitor to post an important letter. So, before handing a letter to a visitor, Lynn gets his assurance, as Lynn trusts not much on his visitor's memory. If anyone asks Lynn to post a letter, then that person is a poor judge of character. Even Lind carries the letter in his hand. He will cross the pillar box and forgets to post it. Sometimes he tires to hold it in his hand, so he puts it for safety in one of his pockets and forgets all about it. The letter which is not posted leads an unadventurous life. At home, he faces embarrassing questions, and the guilt is brought out of his pocket. So, this, it might be thought, must be due to lack of interest in others' letters. But that cannot be the explanation, because he has forgotten to post some of his own letters. By leaving articles in trains and taxis, Lind feels that he is not a great culprit. He says that he can remember almost anything except books and walking sticks. He can often remember even books. He finds impossible to keep walking sticks. He has an old-fashioned taste for them and he buys them frequently. But when he pays a visit to a friend's house or goes a journey in a train, then it will be sure that another stick is going to be lost. It will be difficult to go through life without losing an umbrella. Lind tells that few of us have lost much property on our travels through forgetfulness. But the ordinary man doesn't forget his bags and trunks. It's the young rather than the adult who forget things. Compared to ordinary people, sportsmen have worse memories. A considerable number of footballs and cricket bats are forgotten by them. These boys returning from the games have their imaginations filled with the vision of the playing field. Their heads are among the stars, their hearts in their boots. They recall their exploits of their errors. They do not pay attention to what is happening in outside. Memories prevent them from remembering small dull things like taking the ball or bat with them when they alight from the train. They are the citizens of dreamland for the rest of the day. The anglers who forget their fishing rods are also immersed in their dreams. They are the most imaginative men. The fishing rod of reality is forgotten by them as they daydream over the fears of the fishing rod of Ethiopia. Their memory loss is a tribute for their thinking about their day's sport. They may forget to take their fishing rod as the poets may forget to post a letter, because the anglers' minds are filled with matters more glorious. So here Lind remarks that such absent-mindedness is a virtue, since these people have no time to remember the mediocre and are making the best of lives. Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, and S.G. Coleridge, the great English poet, were absent-minded people. The fact is that they had souls above such things. Lind states that the possession of a good memory is a great advantage for all people. Men with unreliable memories have tried to get along a case for their perfection. A man who is a perfect remembering machine is rarely a man of intelligence. There are various cases to prove that children or men who had excellent memories but they had no intellect. Many great writers, the great music composers of music, have exceptional powers of memory. The poets who known to me have had better memories than the stockbrokers. Memory is half the substance of their art. On the other hand, statesmen have extraordinarily bad memories. Ordinarily, good memory is very common. We consider a man without good memory as eccentric. Here, Lind narrates a very funny story. about a man who forgets. Here, Lind narrates a very funny story of a father who takes his baby out in a pram in the morning. When he was crossing near a public house, he was tempted for a glass of beer. He left the pram outside the street and went into the public house. After some time, his wife came that way for shopping. She was horrified to see her sleeping baby in the pram. She was so angry with her husband, and she decided to teach him a lesson and wheeled away the pram to her house. She expected that her husband would come trembling and would tell that their baby had been stolen. But on the contrary, at lunchtime, her husband came home smiling cheerfully. He asked his wife what was for lunch that day. He has completely forgotten all about his child and the pram. Lind remarks that very few men below the rank of a philosopher would be capable of such absent-mindedness as this is in the story. He concludes that most of us are born with ordinarily efficient memories. That's why the institution of the family survives in any great modern city. Now we are going to learn about the important words which helped us to understand the story well. Vintage, wine of high quality produced in a particular year. Antipathy, strong dislike. Fortunes, huge sums of money. Reluctant, unwilling. Delinquent, a young person who is regularly involved in wrongdoing. Exploits, daring or heroic acts or actions. Feats, abstracted, lacking concentration on what is happening around. Prosaic, dull. Mediocre, not very good, ordinary one. Fallible, capable of making mistakes. Sieve, strainer or filter. Audacious, bold and daring. Eccentric, tending to act strangely. Indignant, being very angry. Quivering, trembling or shivering. Vexation, irritation, annoyance. Astonished, wondered. Vintages, wine produced in a particular year. Wild, unpleasant. Methodical, disciplined, careful. Surprising, shocking. Potions, medicine. Stuff, thing. Fortunes, rich. Reluctant, unwilling. Departing, leaving. Oath, promise. Circumstances, situation. Produce, show. Guilt, blame. Frequently, often. Efficiency, effectiveness. Provincial, local. Scarcely, hardly, seldom. Prescribe, recommended. Antipathy, dislike. Delights, makes one happy. Approaches, comes. Occurs, happens. Trust, believe. Rely, depend. Weary, tired. Embarrassing, shaming. Evidence, proof. Delinquent, wrongdoing youth. Destination, place one wants to go. Considerable, large. Exploits, heroic acts. Prevent, stop. Angler, one who catches fish using angle. Magnificent, great. Intensity, passion or force. Virtue, advantage. Desirable, required. Marvelous, excellent. Exceptional, outstanding. Audacious, bold. Eccentric, strange. Indignant, very angry. Relish, delight or enjoy. Vexation, displeasure. Instance, example. Abstracted, preoccupied, lost in thoughts. Prosaic, boring. Inventing, creating. Tribute, price. glorious, wonderful, mediocre, average, fallible, faulty, intellect, ability, sieve, filter, horror, fear, anticipate, expecting, quivering, trembling, cheerfully, happily, survive, continue. Thank you for listening this one. Patient.